In 1125, the Holy Roman Emperor Henry V died, leaving his wife Matilda in limbo. Matilda was the daughter of the King of England, Henry I. On hearing of the Emperor's death, the English king decided to recall his daughter to his court. According to William of Malmesbury, Matilda was reluctant to leave Germany and her lands and possessions, but had no choice in the matter. She would, however, continue to use the title Empress for the rest of her life. Matilda rejoined her father in Normandy, where the English king would ponder his daughter's future. Henry and his second wife, Adeliza of Louvain, had been married for 4 years, but still hadn't produced any children, and the king had no heir to succeed him. Matilda herself didn't produce any children with Henry V either, but if she were to marry again, there remained the possibility that a son born from this second marriage would one day become King of England. And so it would prove. Matilda certainly wasn't short of suitors. Princes from across Europe came knocking at the door of Henry I, seeking Matilda's hand in marriage. Whilst Henry contemplated these offers, he maintained that Matilda would be his heir unless he produced another son, which seemed all the more unlikely as time went by. However, whatever Henry's wishes were, the chances of a woman taking the crown in England in the 1100s were limited due to social attitudes. To boost Matilda's standing, therefore, she would need a husband to help further her claims, should her father die without any more children. The marriage alliance that Henry I turned to was with the Count of Anjou, and not for the first time. Henry's one legitimate son, William, had married the daughter of Count Fulk V of Anjou, another Matilda, but William had died tragically in the White Ship sinking of 1120. There would be a dispute between the Count and Henry over Matilda of Anjou's dowry, and the Count would marry off another one of his daughters to Henry's rival, William Clito. So it wasn't just for dynastic purposes that Henry decided on an alliance with Anjou. William Clito, the son of Henry's imprisoned brother, Robert Curthose, had married Sibylla, a daughter of Count Fulk. Henry had defeated Robert Curthose in battle and imprisoned him, and disinherited him from his rightful claims as the eldest son of William the Conqueror to the throne of England and the Duchy of Normandy. So, William Clito was a very dangerous rival to Henry, and Clito's marriage to Sibylla was bad news for the English king. Despite Fulk's opposition, Henry managed to get the Pope to annul the marriage between Sibylla and William Clito. With that accomplished, Henry later managed to arrange for Matilda to marry Fulk's son, Geoffrey, who would become known to history as Geoffrey Plantagenet. In 1128, Geoffrey and Matilda married. According to the Anglo-Saxon chronicles, the marriage went ahead despite the fact it offended all the French and all the English. This came in the backdrop of William Clito continuing to cause Henry problems. Throughout 1123 and 1124, Henry had to douse the flames of open rebellion as William joined ranks with the French king Louis VI the Fat. Henry, as he often did, came out on top as he imprisoned enemies and captured castles across Normandy. However, William Clito didn't give up, and in 1127 his position considerably strengthened when he married a half-sister of Louis's queen, Adelaide. Not long after, Louis helped install William Clito as the new Count of Flanders. However, William's rule was rejected, and he was eventually killed during a siege of 1128. For Henry, the death of William Clito meant a long-standing threat to his reign over England and Normandy was now at an end. William's father, Robert Curthose, remained in custody and would remain there until his death in 1134. Sitting a little more securely on his throne now, Henry turned his attention back towards Matilda's succession. In fact, it is clear that Henry's mind had never really turned away from the question over who would take the crown after his death, despite the distraction of William Clito's rebellions. Shortly before Matilda's marriage to Geoffrey of Anjou, Henry had gathered his nobles together and made them swear loyalty to Matilda as their new monarch, should he die without producing another son, a prospect that was now inevitable. Among those to swear loyalty to Matilda was, ironically, a certain Count Stephen, the man who would steal the throne off Matilda. Other notables who accepted Matilda as the heir to the English crown included, less surprisingly, King David I of Scotland, Matilda's uncle. Henry went to the trouble of ensuring loyalty was sworn to Matilda on two further occasions, including on his deathbed in 1135. As the old king lay dying, he may well have had a troubled mind, knowing Matilda's prospects of becoming the first female ruler over England were likely to be hindered by some opportunist seeking to take advantage of these unprecedented times. And that, of course, would be Stephen, Henry's own nephew, though, of course, the old king wouldn't have known that. At the very least, the king would have realised that if Matilda did become queen, then she would have faced a reign dominated by rebellions, in the same fashion that Henry's had been plagued by men like William Clito. For Henry, though, he could hold on to two things. Matilda could rely on the support of her husband, Geoffrey of Anjou. Whilst the two hadn't exactly been overly enamoured with each other to begin with, Matilda especially, the relationship had become warmer as time had gone on, and they had two sons together at the time of Henry's death in late 1135, with another one on the way. Matilda was in the early stages of her pregnancy with hers and Geoffrey's third son when Henry I died in December of 1135. In the shape of these little infants, the future of the English monarchy depended, the old king realised. Matilda's first son with Geoffrey was named after his grandfather, and he would grow to be one of medieval England's most recognisable kings, Henry II.